On April 28th, 2024, I got the opportunity to get an early ride on Cedar Point's new for 2024 edition, Top Thrill 2. Normally, I'm not a fan of judging roller coasters off of one ride. However, to make sure that everyone at the event got a ride, Cedar Point limited us to one ride per person for this event. Let's set up our review as Top Thrill 2, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Wait a minute, this isn't Steel Vengeance. On the good side of things, I have to talk about the trains. These are some very comfortable open-air trains with a very simple and comfortable restraint system, an over-the-shoulder lap bar similar to what we've seen from Intamin and Mach lately. In a somewhat unusual move for a large coaster at a Cedar Fair park, these trains don't have seat belts, and that's not a problem at all. The restraints still feel very comfortable and secure, and without seat belts to worry about, ride operators will be able to keep these trains moving efficiently. One of my favorite features of these trains is that they seem to include what I like to call an anti-staple mechanism. This means that once the train has left the station, the lap bar cannot move down further on you during the ride. This is not unique to Top Thrill 2, but I think it's a very good feature because I haven't seen this on many coasters, and it reduces the uncomfortable crushing sensation as the ride progresses that some hydraulic restraint systems these days suffer from. Another great thing about Top Thrill 2 is that it now feels like a bit more of a complete ride. A phrase you might hear thrown around a lot in enthusiast conversations is one-trick pony, and Top Thrill Dragster exemplified this very well. While it was an absolutely stunning ride, it was literally only 17 seconds from launch to brakes. Top Thrill 2, on the other hand, is almost 1 minute long. Much of this is spent traveling at the high speeds that you would only spend a few seconds at on the original. In addition, this is currently the only roller coaster in the world with 2 drops over 300 feet on the same ride. Finally, we have to talk about the top hat, the centerpiece of both Top Thrill Dragster and Top Thrill 2. This element is actually much better on Top Thrill 2 than it was on Top Thrill Dragster. On hydraulic launches like Top Thrill Dragster, the train tends to reach its top speed only partway down the launch track, with the rest of the launch track being used to slow down the catch car. Once the train disengaged from the catch car, it would slow down through friction and air resistance, which means that Top Thrill Dragster probably wasn't arriving at the base of the top hat at 120 miles per hour. In addition, LSMs tend to provide more precise speed control than hydraulic launches, so Top Thrill 2 is probably hitting its full 120 miles per hour at the end of the launch track. Combined with the longer trains, this means that, especially if you're sitting at the front or back of the train, Top Thrill 2 has much more ejector airtime at the top of the top hat. The higher seating position of the trains compared to the original also helps transition this airtime into the roll down, as well as creating more lateral forces on the twists as well. The anti-staple feature of the restraints also helps to accentuate the airtime even more. The view from the spike is phenomenal, and I was towards the front of the train. It'll be even better towards the back. As with anything though, it can't all be good, and there's definitely a few flaws with this ride. First off are the launches, especially the first one. Top Thrill Dragster was renowned among coaster enthusiasts for its extremely intense launch. Now, being the nerd that I am, I sometimes use an Apple Watch in the Ride Forces app to check out how intense a coaster actually is, just in terms of raw numbers. I did this on Top Thrill Dragster back in the day, and I also did it on Top Thrill 2 on my one ride. And this was the result. While Top Thrill 2 does have an initial kick to the launch, even at its peak, it's about half as powerful as Top Thrill Dragster sustained for the entire launch. And to be honest, I didn't even feel any real initial kick to the launch, although, again, I have to ride this ride more to form a full opinion on it. If you only like Top Thrill Dragster for its initial launch, though, you might find Top Thrill 2 a little bit disappointing. I really wish that they could have done an airtime hill launch like you can see on the second launch of Pantheon and Copperhead Strike. This could have helped make up for the weaker launch by introducing a new, unique, high-speed airtime moment, but unfortunately Top Thrill 2's launch is just straight track as it was with Dragster. The other issue with this ride is it definitely has a little bit of roughness. Top Thrill Dragster was very smooth for how fast it went, and Kingda Ka, its sister coaster, is somewhat notorious for being a much rougher ride. Much of the reason Top Thrill Dragster was considered better than its bigger sister was because it was smoother. And when it came out that Zamperla would be taking on Top Thrill Dragster's refurbishment, quite a few people were concerned considering Zamperla's history of rough thrill coasters like Thunderbolt at Coney Island, or even the older and notoriously awful Volare flying coaster model. While I'm happy to say that Top Thrill 2 seems to have turned out much smoother than Zamperla's older thrill coaster models, it definitely has a more pronounced rattle than Top Thrill Dragster did. Since Top Thrill 2 spends so much more time at high speed than Top Thrill Dragster, you also have much more time to notice this rattle. It's not a deal breaker, but it's definitely a little bit rougher than Dragster was. I will say, however, that I still found Top Thrill 2 to be quite a bit smoother than Kingda Ka, which has a notorious shuffle to it if you sit anywhere except the front row. And now it's time for the ugly, and if you know me at all, I think you can see already where this is going. In early April, it was revealed to the public that Top Thrill 2 would be a forced locker ride. This ride does not allow you to have anything in your pockets at all, even if they're zipped, and enforces this with a metal detector. In addition, they don't have lockers in the queue like Steel Vengeance, so you can't have your phone in line. The worst part is, to comply with this policy, even if you brought in the least possible amount of items, like just your car keys and season pass, you still need to buy a locker to ride Top Thrill 2, making it a de facto upcharge ride. This might sound familiar to past viewers of the channel, because I made a whole video about this kind of practice at Six Flags Great Adventure, and I am not a fan of it. It is unfortunate that during the planning phase of this ride, no one seems to have foreseen the possible need for queue lockers until it was too late to add them before the ride's grand opening. For now, we have to deal with paid lockers outside the line, but I really hope that perhaps next season Cedar Point could get free lockers just like we see on Steel Vengeance to mitigate this issue. Overall, however, besides the loose article situation, I think Cedar Point's hit a slam dunk with this ride, especially if it ends up being more reliable than the original Top Thrill Dragster. So far, in its previews, Top Thrill 2 has seemed to be fairly reliable, especially for a new ride, and that'll only get better as the year goes on. It's definitely having a smoother start than Wild Mouse did. And given that Wild Mouse ended up becoming a quite dependable roller coaster as the season went on, I have no doubt that Top Thrill 2 could as well. Now, do I like this ride more than the original Top Thrill Dragster? I'm honestly not sure. They're both incredible rides, and I think I need to ride Top Thrill 2 a little more before finalizing my opinion on it. As I'm recording this, the park actually opens officially tomorrow, and hopefully I'll go opening weekend and maybe get a ride on it if I can stand the lines. But in conclusion, congratulations to Cedar Point and Zamperla for making a great ride. Zamperla has truly proven they can run with the big dogs now, and I am very excited to see what this manufacturer can give us in the future.